So establishing a regimen to heal yourself at first, this can seem so ominous and overreaching. I'll be honest, it's taken me years and years and years to really get to the place in my life where I feel like I have, more ownership and power over my life. So if we take these little steps at a time, we can do things to take care of our basic needs and heal ourselves in ways we could never have imagined, especially for those of us who come through major issues, or like so many of my friends who have PTSD from the war. So what are the little things we can do to take care of our basic needs? Food. What kind of foods make us feel better? Making sure we're drinking enough water, making sure we're getting 8 hours of sleep, basic health. So what are the steps that will take care of our primary responsibilities, our basic needs like food, water, shelter, and human connection? Who are our close connections, our friends, our family, the people that we can trust? If we don't have those, how do we build those? How do we make those connections? So once we've established that, then we can reach outward to heal the outer layers of our life. But if you try to work on these traumas and things, you don't feel safe enough to work on that if you haven't taken care of your basic needs. Like if you're hungry, your body was like, we can't deal with that right now. We got to deal with food. So because we are going into this creating a healing regimen, let's talk about how I'm how I'm defining trauma here. I talked a little bit about it before, but what most people misunderstand about trauma is that traumatic event may have passed and you've made it through it, and so you're stoked. But then feeling after you're dealing with the actual event that it shouldn't affect you afterwards. Well, in my personal case, and so many people that I mentor, that is not the case. And some of that might be actual true post-traumatic stress disorder, or some people just may have recurring, annual grief around a particular trauma. So we have to learn how to deal with that. But it's fact where the body feels safe that it begins to process the feelings and experiences that trauma. So sometimes you think you got through it, it's been a year, and then all of a sudden some smell, some feeling, the date, the anniversary, and all of a sudden you can feel like you're back in it and you have no idea how, and you have new feelings, new information. Sometimes you'll see that with family members. They've dealt with someone dying and they seem to be handling it really great. And then 3 months later, all of a sudden they completely lose it. And I think that what happens is the body now feels like it's safe enough. That could be days, weeks, months, even years after this has happened. Now the body is ready, or the emotions or whatever, whoever understands that, is ready to really deal with whatever emotion needs to be dealt with. So for me, this happened much later in life. Earlier on in life, I was trying to learn how to get my life back together with how I ate and taking care of my body, and I was in bedridden all the time. I had lots of health issues. And so I really had to put that as the primary focus. I did have some memories and some traumas that were definitely plaguing me. But later in life, now that my life has gotten much better, is when things have sort of changed. So things that I had experienced as a child, which some of you have read my book and know that it's pretty there's actually a couple of people put me in their books of somehow what a crazy childhood I've had. So they were processed much later in my life. And then I needed to not have sort of this knee-jerk reaction of closing myself off from feeling those feelings, which is what I want to do because that feels like normal. Because when I do that, then I don't get to have this amazing life. So I had to learn how to work with them and let them have a place to release themselves up and out of my body, so that then I have more energy to really receive my abundant life and to be more prosperous and have all this energy. And I think one of the things that people ask me, how do I have so much energy, is I actually have allowed this trauma, these emotions, this grief, I call it sort of time-release grief, to release out of my body so that I have more room for more energy to have kind of an awesome life. But what we must do to get over these traumas is to process with them and heal that part of ourselves. Sometimes it's a part of you didn't even know existed. That actually happened to me recently. I thought I dealt with so many layers of this, and this new layer has come that has just been a bit of a bear. Not fun, but I'm working with it. And so we must not become victims of our traumas. At least that's my adage to myself, but face them to heal them in a new way. And if I can do it, I know you can too. So trauma, to me, is having an emotional experience of something that happened after the fact that brings you back emotionally and even physically to the negative space or mindset or emotions or physical reactions. Sometimes this is what is known as post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. Sometimes you can have some version of this and it's not full-on PTSD, or there's just a lot of different things. Some people have panic attacks. There's a lot of different things that you can use this sort of same concept. My experiences with post-traumatic stress disorder are not panic attacks so much. So whatever experience you have that feels traumatic for you, you can use these same sort of examples. So one of the ways that to do this is to create a support system that will really help hold ourselves when we are struggling. I now, every year, I do my goals and intentions, but I also write a list of who are the people that I can trust and support so that when I'm in a really dark place, I don't have to try to explain backstory. I can just say, hey, I'm not okay. And then they help talk me through it. And that has been really lifeline instead of waiting until I'm in that place and then no one knows how to help me. So this can be different kinds of therapies that we can look for. We can find support systems. You want to look around and see the people who have tried these things and worked for them and then go to those people. Try to take on the types of things that you feel like something in your gut is guiding you towards or somebody you really trust has gone to. Traditional therapies can really be helpful, holistic therapies, spiritual therapies. Feel whatever resonates with you. I have tried everything. I have tried, I've tried lots of different kinds of things that are from all different kinds of nationalities, cultures, and disciplines. Proper nutrition and exercise actually plays a huge role in this. Recently, I actually realized I had some parasites and bacteria that were eating my body, and I noticed I had more PTSD episodes before I got that healed. So my doctors and I are really starting to notice that also, making sure my physical health is in place, that actually might have been also triggering some of these memories. It's all very complicated, the human body. So make sure you're just being your best advocate and you can be the best advocate for yourself so you know how to heal yourself. And you don't have to do this alone. Find buddies and peers that you can practice these tools with and skills with and humble yourself to that because it really does. You can't do this all alone. Share your realizations on how you chart a course through healing your trauma. Grief groups or 12-step groups are a great resource. These are all free. And look, almost every area in the world has most of these kinds of things. Usually, this requires that we look into the trauma that is impacting your life, and that can be what's scary. But what areas in your life is this impacting? So you may not want to face it, but maybe this is what's keeping you from your prosperity, from your health, from having the relationships that you want, or just pure joy. Maybe what's happening is it's interfering with your mind. Find affirmations, meditations, or other techniques that resonate with you, that you can find in books or from your friends, or try those. One of my experiments is that I'll go to a bookstore, which they don't have as many of those anymore. Maybe you could do it on Amazon. But I'll go through and I'll just close my eyes and I'll just sort of feel like, where does this book pull an energy for me? And I've had the best experiences with books like that. And now some of those books were the best books that actually helped me heal through some of my traumas. So try some fun like that. So if you're scared to go alone, try to go with a friend who will be there with you, or maybe go with you. Maybe they have the same sort of issues as well, and support each other on your journey. One thing that is difficult for me is I have a type of personality that's easier to do things for others than it is for them to do for myself. So I started doing service for other people. This helped me heal things for myself. This is how my nonprofit was started. So I knew if I could do something for others, then I had to do the same thing for myself. So I put other people's oxygen mask on, and it reminds me what it looks like to put that on, and so then I can do it for myself symbolically. So if I was going to treat others with understanding and compassion, well, I'd have to do that same thing for myself, or I'm a hypocrite. So it's kind of using that sort of reverse logic, and that's made a huge difference. So people tell me a lot of times they're so impressed with me giving so much to other people with my charity, but really to me it's somewhat selfish. I do this service work to help heal these places in me that feel broken, and so that if I can help heal places for others, then it helps heal this place in me. So it's important to create a systemic regimen that you can use on a daily plan as to how you will take back your power or any given situation when these kinds of things come up. These may include ongoing daily things from support groups to therapies, which will reorganize your mind to take your power back. Think of it as a virus on your computer. If you don't take the virus off, contain and eradicate it, then it will continue to spread. And to me, that's what's happened if I don't do that. So we need to address those things in our lives that are infecting us with a negative way of thinking that really is not one way we usually want to be. You wouldn't even be talking to me or looking at this if that's what you wanted. So we can get back to our core positive actions if you do these kinds of things. So let's create a list of systematic daily routines or weekly routines that you feel like you can do to help you feel safe in your particular, traumatic or uncomfortable situation that you're dealing with to heal you. Also consider what kinds of therapies are you willing to take a look at and deal with these issues if you need be. And really do get support if you feel like you need it. The trick here is to be compassionate with yourself and find tools to help you live with this kind of situation and get through to the other side. And compassion is the key thing. And if you can't be compassionate for yourself, find somebody who is and let them do it for you until you can do it for yourself. All right. So let's go find our joy through all of this. And this is where fighting for joy started. So go fight for some joy.